Let's do a video. Which one are we doing today? Hi guys, and welcome back to 97 Projects. I'm Amy, and today we're going to be preserving funeral flowers. So unfortunately a family friend has passed away recently, and his daughter's been in touch to preserve the flowers that they used at his funeral. She's air dried 5 roses and 5 orchids from the funeral and has asked me to put them in resin for her. So I have already done a couple of testers. We did a sphere shape and a square, just like a cube shape. So I think we've decided that the square is actually better, just because the sphere had like this weird lip around the edge, which would have to be sanded off, and then it's right in the middle of where the flowers are, so it would kind of ruin it if I didn't get it out properly, or like didn't sand it down enough and it just left abrasive marks around the edge. I'm going to go with the square, but I do need to order some different moulds, just because the ones that I've got at the moment, for some reason the edges, even though they're brand new moulds, I've never used them before, they've got really dull edges, or like dull insides, so I don't really want to have to top coat everything after I've already poured it. So yeah, we're going to order some square moulds, some bigger ones. I'm going to order 2 different sizes. Yeah, and then we'll have to start the pouring process. The idea is we're going to do them in thin layers, just so that the resin, one, doesn't get too hot when it cures and then burn the flowers inside, and 2, just so we can try and control the amount of bubbles that are going to come through. Just because when you put in full flowers, there's a lot of different air pockets, especially with roses. There's a lot of different air pockets that the resin can get caught in. So yeah, we're going to try and make it clear. Well, we're going to try and make it clear to the resin that we want it to be clear. I've got to try and think about how we're going to do this as well, because obviously some of them have got stems, some of them haven't. Do I trim the stems and then rest it on the resin once I've got a decent layer on the bottom? That might be a way of doing it. Oh, that's a point as well. Do I do them face down or face up? I think I'm going to have to do the roses face up, just because the amount of air bubbles that I'm going to get in the roses otherwise. If you imagine the roses upside down, so imagine this big boy here. Ooh, imagine that upside down, and then trying to fill in resin with it upside down. Right, okay, so I've been and spoke to the customer, or the family friend, and she's decided not to go with the orchids in the end, just because they've dried out an awful colour and they don't look great. They still feel a little bit spongy as well, a little bit soapy, so we're going to cancel off the orchids altogether and just go with the big moulds for all 5 of the roses. I'm going to start with the 2 first, because I've only got 2 of these moulds. So, and then we're going to mix up a little bit of resin. So we've got 65 by 65, so I need 42.25 mil. If I do 25 mil of each, so we'll do halfway in between 12.5 and 12.5 of the part A, and then 12.5 up to 25 of part B, and we'll mix both of them. Oh, I'll tell you what I can use the smaller moulds for. If I prop them in there, I can actually start to pour a little bit of leftover resin inside the roses. Ask for a little bit of gold leaf in there as well, so that's what we've done. Oh. So we're not going to put the roses in straight away. We're going to leave this for a few hours and then come back and pour the next layer. This is purely just a thin protective barrier to stop the roses from poking through the bottom. Right, let's have a little torch around. Not too much, because I want to try and preserve the moulds. I read somewhere today that too much heat on the moulds makes them not stay shiny for longer. Whoops, that was my head. I need to get myself some alcohol spray, I think, just so I don't have to do this. And then some, I should also get some mould release, so then I'm not ruining my mould when I'm taking stuff out. And then tomorrow we'll come back, or maybe later on tonight, we'll do another layer with the roses inside this time. It's funny because the resin projects were sort of starting to dry up a little bit. It was mostly just those blue and gold coasters had done really well on Etsy, so I was just pumping those ones out, and then all of a sudden I've got 3 separate real flower projects. So we've got this one, which is the funeral flowers. There's a sentimental project coming up, which should be the next project you see in 2 weeks' time. I'm going to try and keep them in 2 week schedules. And then the third one is I'm preserving, or have preserved, a wedding bouquet. So both of those projects are the first 2 full bouquets that I've preserved in silica gel. And I'll show you the whole detailed process, and that'll be coming up in 2 weeks and 4 weeks' time respectively. So if you do want to see those 2 great projects coming up, make sure you hit the notification when you subscribe, just so you can find out when those 2 hit the channel. Right, it's the next morning. I sat with these for a good half an hour, 45 minutes last night, just making sure that I was tapping and popping all the bubbles on the top. So I've measured, I've got about 1 centimetre and 1.5 centimetres, so I'm going to mix up around 120 mils of resin and then just put the final coat on. That's another point. I think the gloves, the nitrile gloves, are giving me, I bought a different brand to the one that I normally link in my description, and my hands are in bits. I can't work out if it's my UV nail varnish, gel nail varnish, or if it's the nitrile gloves that I bought. It might be a mix of both. They feel itchy, sore, just they're peeling off. All this because I was trying to get some nice nails for when I do like the videos, because I've never really had like a very nice set of nails. I've never been like a girly enough girl to have or look after my nails very well. So I was trying to start looking after my nails and grow them. And I thought, oh, gel nails would be great for that, because then they're sort of protected from breaking and I can't really bite them off and stuff. And then it's given me some sort of awful infection, or some sort of allergic reaction, which is not great. So now my hands look like I'm 80 years old because they've all gone all crackly and horrible and just so sore. Let's see how easy these are going to be to take out. Come in. Oh. I'm really pleased apart from this section here. I think that layer was just that little bit too bubbly, but I can fill that in with maybe some UV. I wish I didn't see the different layers in there. But that is otherwise quite clear, apart from this little section here. I think I'll go a bit lighter on the gold leaf. I think I did it right towards the end by adding less and less, so good. Good. That was a bugger to get out though. Oof. Now I've got to get another one out. This is probably going to be the best way of me trying to get this out. Much easier. Hey. Woohoo. That one is much better. Oh my god, that's gorgeous. Wow. Oh, that's fantastic. Apart from a little bit of bubbles. Wow. Oh my god. That is spectacular. Wow, I'm pleased with that one. Okay, so less is more with the gold leaf. Rule number, what number was it? A little bit of finishing around the edges to do. Yes, this is definitely the best one. Alright, so what we've learned is we definitely need the mini layer on the bottom. Leaving the stalks in it does it a favour as well, because it kind of props it up a little bit. And less on the gold. So we'll leave these on. I'll fill these up with a little bit of resin, just to try and speed up the bubble popping process. Side by side though, they look great. I really prefer it without the gold leaf though.
I'll go really sparing on the gold leaf this time. I think I'll put it in manually rather than dumping it all in with the stirring stick. Right, so next coat. What I've decided this time to stop the roses from falling over is to make a makeshift grid to stop them from falling. So I'm going to try and get as many bubbles out of here as possible before we put it in, just because I won't be able to probably torch it once it does go in, so hopefully this doesn't tip the roses over. I'm going to go a lot lighter on the gold leaf, like I said, just because I didn't like how much gold leaf was in the first ones. And hopefully this will give me enough so I don't have to do this the second time round. And hopefully the roses will stand up by themselves.
Oh yeah, one thing I have realised recently, and probably should have realised a lot sooner, is that you can't really weigh your resin when it's by volume. So if I give you a brief example, so if you weigh the same grams of resin as you do the hardener in the kit that I use, even though the grams would be the same, the amount of millilitres that you get in the cup would be different. And at the end of, I bought like a big 4 litre kit of resin, and then at the end of it I had a lot left over of one rather than the other, even though the other one was empty. I mean, it was marginal difference in terms of how much needs to go in of each, and everything I've made has sort of cured, so it's not been too much of an issue. But I think if there's that much of one left over at the end of the tubs, then maybe that's potentially a load more projects that I could be making rather than wasting the resin. So yeah, so from now on I'm not going to be weighing the resin, I'm going to be, I'll be using measuring cups. I've got some lovely plastic cups from, and that's sticky, great. Why do I keep touching sticky stuff? When I'm doing my resin now, we'll still measure the moulds out with water, but instead of using that milliliter measurement to weigh grams of resin, we'll be using that millimeter measurement to know how many milliliters of resin I'll need, obviously. So if I weigh into a mould 100 milliliters of water, I know that needs 100 milliliters of resin. So with the part A and part B 1-to-1 ratio resin, I need 50 milliliters of part A and then 50 milliliters of part B. So 50 and then 50, rather than 50 grams and then 50 grams. There you go. After a year of resin, I've finally read the instructions and done it properly. It worked. It worked before, like it was all curing, so.
Finally done. I did have to come back and pour an extra layer on top because I think I'd done the coat too thick, so it started to suck down the edges where it overheated. I think I'll try the same trick as last time and try and put things down the edge to try and get some air to the bottom. Ooh, 10 times easier than when I did it the first time. Oh wow. That is so much nicer than the first ones I did. There's a few more bubbles in the top, but oh my god, that's gorgeous. I'm kind of annoyed at how you can see the different levels and how the gold leaf is sort of stuck to the different levels, but it's still bloody gorgeous. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. That's beautiful. Just need to pick the edges off a little bit. And I'll still finish off the edges just to make sure that they're not sharp or anything. Oh, that's bloody gorgeous. I definitely think less is more with the gold. That is phenomenal. Oh, cool. Easy. Wow. Wow. So the final results, I'm really happy with them. Specifically the ones where I put less of the gold flakes in them. Yeah, I'll insert some clips here. So when I was sanding, I was trying to just do the edges in the end, because whenever I did the top, I didn't trust myself on getting all the different marks out. So I've just literally tidied the edges and then left it at that. There are a couple of them where they've got like lines of bubble marks in them. I did try to fill those in with UV resin. Yeah, it didn't work. So I think because the holes are so small, even the UV resin won't go in them, so we've just got this little layer of micro bubbles around one edge. But you can see the difference. So this is one of the first ones we did with lots of the gold flakes, and then this is one of the ones we did afterwards. And I just think the difference, I'm really happy. I'm just glad that that'll be a nice keepsake for somebody now to remember their granddad or their dad by, and it's nice to be part of. So thank you very much, Mary, for asking me to do that for you. I did do some testers, which I need to find, because that's kind of part of the video. 2 secs. Why is my hand a different colour to my face? Nice. Very nice. Ooh, very nice. You like this? Ooh, you shouldn't like this. Try a sneak preview of what's to come. Ooh. Shh. It has been a tepid 60 seconds. It's been a hot minute. 6.5 times 6.5. Here goes. Ah, my back's twinging. What the fuck? Oh, is this what elderly life feels like? Your back just twinges for no reason. It's because I've been bending over the desk for so long, because these blasted customers. Just to round that off before my back seized. Anyway, I digress. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, measuring cups. Maybe I shouldn't be doing a thumbnail at bloody half past 12 at night. Here's me looking dog rough. Sound in it too, because I'm not very well. Good night.